In this tutorial, you will learn how to design raster graphics in Photoshop and create images for a graphical user interface. In the geography game, when you click on the name Boston, a pop-up window displays information about the city. Let's design the graphic panel shown in that window in Photoshop and prepare it for Unity. Create a new document in Photoshop. Go to File and select New. Define the image size in pixels. Photoshop creates raster graphics, so it is very important to create the largest size document you may need later. For the Boston panel graphic, we set the size to 512 by 512 pixels. If you prepare images for games, it is best to choose sizes that are multiples of 2. Set the resolution to 72 dpi and color mode to RGB color. Set background contents to transparent. These settings are good for images that will be viewed on computer screens. It is good practice to save documents as soon as you create them. Go to File, Save As, name your file, and save it as a Photoshop document. While designing our transparent image, let's use a background image for color reference. Go to File and select Place. Here is the background image we are going to use. Select it and hit Place. Resize it to fill the window. Since we are using the image only for color reference, we don't have to keep the proportions here. Photoshop will not modify the original image. Click on the checkbox icon on the top to accept it. To create the box of the graphic panel, use the rectangle tool from the left vertical toolbar. Select the rounded rectangle option. On the top toolbar, make sure that Shape is active. Now draw the rectangle on the screen. You can change the fill and stroke and set exact dimensions on the top horizontal toolbar. If we want the fill of the box to be transparent, we can change the opacity of the fill using the slider in the Layer panel. In the Layers panel on the right, note that Photoshop has created 2 layers, one for the background and one for the rectangular box. You can hide and show a layer by clicking the eye icon next to its name. Note how a layer obscures the layers under it. The box is partly transparent, so one can see the background image through it. You can rearrange the order of layers by dragging them with the mouse. You can create new layers or delete layers using the icons under the Layer panel. To prevent further changes on a layer, select it and click the Lock icon on top. Let's add a new layer for the information text. Click the Add a New Layer icon. Then double-click on the layer to rename it. To add text to the layer, start the horizontal type tool using its icon on the vertical toolbar on the left. Hold down the mouse and drag the cursor to define the outline of the text box. Drawing the outline before typing is very useful if you want to resize the box later. Once you have the text box, start typing. You can change the font style, color, and other characteristics in the character and paragraph windows on the right. It is very good practice to organize your Photoshop work files in layers, especially for complex designs. We can also group layers together using the Create a New Group icon. Let's create a group for Boston. Drag the text and rectangular box layers into the group. You can now manipulate them separately or together. The reference background image stays outside the Boston group. Double-click on a group to rename it. Let's add a photo to the design. Go to File, Place. Select a photo file and import it. Here is my original photo of the Boston skyline. Now, what if we want to show only a part of the photograph? To hide parts of an image non-destructively, we can use a vector mask. Let's create a rectangular vector mask for the Boston skyline photo. Select the photo layer. Use the rectangle tool from the left vertical toolbar. Choose Path from the drop-down menu in the top toolbar. Draw the rectangular shape on the screen. Then go to Layer Vector Mask, Current Path. The vector mask is created, and only the parts of the photo inside the mask are visible now. If you click on the chain icon between the photo and mask, you can unlock them and edit the image. For example, you can resize it or move it. The mask still defines the borders, but we see a different part of the image. Lock the mask and image again if you want to move them together as one layer. The Boston information panel is now ready. The background was only for color reference, so hide its group. Here is the image we need for the game interface. Let's save it. First, save the Photoshop file with all layers. You can always edit it again. Then go to Save As and choose PNG, which stands for Portable Network Graphics. This format saves images with transparency, which can be imported and used in many applications. Make sure you understand all techniques we learned in this tutorial, because we shall continue using them to design graphics in Photoshop and Illustrator.